What's going on, everybody? This is the Undefeated by Choice podcast, brought to you by Still Fist. And if you can tell, the microphone quality is much better this time. I figured out the trick. I've got to use the big mic. See, I tried to trick you all because I didn't want to have to move cameras around and move audio equipment around. So I just had a little lapel mic that I had hooked onto this little cage right here, and I was using that as the microphone, trying to just be, you know, just trying to rig it up so I don't have to do a whole lot every time I want to do one of these. But that didn't work out in the last episode, which sucked because I really liked that episode. Like, I thought that I put a lot of thought into it, and I did, a good job on the episode. But I can guarantee no one's stuck around to hear the audio, the mic cutting in and out, and that just happens. It's the name of the game. So hopefully this is much better. We won't have any of those issues this time because I've got the big mic hooked up to it and everything. So we should be able to go on from there. And of course, got to talk about Still Fist. I just posted something on Facebook today. It's been a year. I've been with these guys for a year now, and I cannot say how much I love working with you. Like, I cannot express how much I love working with these guys. One, because the owner, Kevin, one of the three owners, Kevin, is not a mushy person, and so when I get all emotional and I'm like writing him texts, after a whiskey or two, I'm like, I just love working with you guys. And he's like, cool, bro. Thanks. so I'm not gonna. I try not to get too overly excited about how much I love working with these guys in front of him or in front of anybody, just because. I mean, what people need to understand is how much I love MMA. I mean, that's why I do this. I'm not making money off of doing this, and so I do it because I'd like to make money doing it, but really I love it so much. I just this morning I woke up real quick. It's Saturday morning, and I watched the rematch. I watched the fight of Chael Sonnen and Anderson Silva. The comeback when Anderson Silva came back in the last, what it was, like last minute of the fight to wrap up a triangle and win the fight. And I just got on my elliptical and before everyone was awake, and just jumped on it and started to just watch the fights. Like, this is a passion. This is an absolute passion of mine. This is something that I love. I love being a part of it. I love being part of the organization, especially the local organization. Watching these young fighters that are just so excited to be a part of the show. And when you come to a Still Fish show, it feels like a big event. It feels like something special. And I see all the fighters in the back, and they're all just so excited. So, like, all their, it's like, it's cheesy, but like, all their hopes and dreams. Like, this is everything they've ever dreamed of for the longest time. Being here, being in this spot, getting to show off their skills and be here. And, especially with the debut guys, you see the nerves and their hitting pads out there, and coach is trying to wrangle them in, and it's just, excuse me, I apologize, there's a lot of mucus all over. But yeah, it's just, I just love being a part of it. I love being a part of this organization. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. And so we've moved our event from it was going to be April 4th. Now it's May 9th. And then Kevin said on a podcast that he was on, the Damage Plan MMA podcast. It's awesome. I love those guys. Jason Laporte and Zach Partridge. They really do a good job. They got like the most soothing voices. Every time I listen to it, it's like it's like NPR. It's like they're so soothing. Like, they're just, I don't know if they've got like really nice mics or what, but their voices just sound so nice on. Anyways, big shout out to those guys. I appreciate their podcast. I love their podcast, and I hope that they're doing well, and especially in with the times that we're in right now, that they continue to be able to put out content because they do a good job. Anyways, they had Kevin Patton on, and Kevin was talking about this situation, and he was saying that we've secured the May 9th. May 9th spot at the event center, and then but if that doesn't work, we're able to push it back to the 22nd. We worked with the commission. We've gotten the approval that if this, throughout this time of us trying to quarantine and us trying to be safe, that if we need to push it back a couple weeks just to further distance ourselves from the quarantine, then we can do that. So that's the plan right now. As far as we know, they're going to honor the tickets if you've already bought in tickets. They're going to honor the tickets that you currently have at that show as well. So if you've already got tickets, you're good to go for that card. And I've done my best not to. Well, I've talked about it quite a bit. I've tried not to. I just don't. I just hate being bombarded with this whole coronavirus thing. I mean, it's important to know and to hear and to study, but like there also needs to be a reprieve from it, a way to just get away from it. And but it's kind of impossible. But I'll tell you what. Last night I was just kind of over it. I was just, dude, I've just been exhausted. Like, I read everyone's, and you have half the world saying this is the end of the world, and you have half the world saying this ain't nothing, and, this is a hoax, and whatever. I, of course, like the majority, I mean, of course, the smallest population is going to be the loudest population. So you have the extremists saying this is the biggest thing ever. Did I say the smallest population is the loudest population? Did I just say that? The smallest population is the loudest. Yeah, the smallest population is the loudest population. Okay, I have to make sure I had that right. You guys got to remember this is early morning. The smallest population is the loudest population. So you have the smallest population of people thinking this is the end of the world, and they're the ones that screaming it from the rooftops, and then vice versa. The people that think this is a hoax and this is a conspiracy, and this is nothing, and that we don't have anything to really worry about, they're also a very small population that's making the most amount of noise. I think we all land in the middle, knowing that this is something serious. This is something that is happening, but it's not. It's not the end of the world. It's not. This whole. It's gonna get worse before it gets better. I mean, I believe I talked about this on the last one. What does that actually mean? What does it actually mean that this is gonna get worse? I mean, do you mean it's gonna get worse that everyone's gonna get it? Okay, that's fine. And we know that most people will recover from it, and we know we will have casualties, and that sucks. And that is a sombering thought that we are going to lose people, and that people are going to lose people close to them over just being sick, something that should have been avoided, should be avoidable. that's the reality, and that sucks. And I don't want to downplay the fact that some of us are going to lose loved ones, but the bigger picture is a lot of us won't. A lot of us won't. A lot of us will be fine. And so it's tough to be like, you got to be. I found this, that, like I keep saying this, the gray area that I am taking it serious. I am doing my best to quarantine myself. Like, I have a job that doesn't allow for that. I have to go to my job. It's a government job, and even if the government were to shut down in my position, I still continue to have to be there. Like, I do my best to quarantine myself. I haven't gone to any MMA gyms. I haven't gone to any gyms, and I kind of had stopped before they actually shut themselves down. Just because like I said on the last one, I have a mother that has health conditions. I have a father that's had health conditions. I have a stepmother that's had health conditions, and I love all of them with all my heart, and I want them to stay safe. So, even though I'm fine and my daughter will probably be fine, we have other family members and other people in our close circle that we need to look out for. And so, back to what I was originally going to say is, I've been, in this little quarantine bubble, and just yesterday I just was tired of reading all the comments. Just everything is I mean, with Utah, we had a short little break from it because we had to all worry about an earthquake coming, which proved to be no. I mean, I was in no panic about that whole thing. I felt the ground shaking. I was in my bathroom shaving, and I kind of felt the ground shake a little bit. Felt like if I was to be standing in a canoe, like the ground underneath me was solid, but underneath that felt like it was wobbly. And so I was just kind of standing there shaving, looking around like, what the hell? I guess the earthquake. At first I thought someone had hit our house with the car. I felt like the house was shaking because someone just hit it. And then it kept going. I was like, oh, this is an earthquake. And then I got in my car and drove to work. Like, maybe I don't have the right mindset for disasters or natural disasters or emergencies or anything like that. Maybe I just am way too relaxed and way too chill for all of it because I just was like, okay. And I'm listening to the radio and they're all freaking out and telling us that there's a 9 point whatever coming after. And I was like, man, no, it's not. You can't predict earthquakes. Like, if you could, you would have predicted the one that we had that morning. So, like, you can't. And I know that whatever, like, there's, you have professionals that are smarter than me that probably think that you probably say that you can predict earthquakes. But in my head, at that moment, while I was in my car, I was like, you can't predict earthquakes, so I'm out of here. And I just, went to work. I had to anyways. I wouldn't have an option. So, anyways, let me get to this important part of my story. So I'm sitting there yesterday. I'm just tired of it, so I put my phone away. And, I couldn't watch another Disney Channel show because we've been a week already. Just me and my daughter just binge watching all things Disney and Netflix. And, since I turned the TV off, and she was just sitting there playing on the floor. And I was just watching her, and she'd, get up and climb in my lap and play part of her game with me and then jump back down playing with her dollies and stuff. And, I sat there and it was like an hour had gone by, and I was like, I can't remember the last time I spent a full hour with no other distractions, without looking at my phone, without watching the TV. I can't remember the last time, other than like putting her to bed or something, that she sat there and played, and I just watched her play, and I just spent time with her like that. Like, if there's one thing that I pride myself on and that like I'll be cocky about and that I'll like put myself above others on is, and I think this is probably a good thing, is that I'm a good dad. Like, I'm there for my daughter. I'm obsessed with her. I'm always bragging about her. Every time someone says, "How's your little girl?" I get the biggest smile on my face, and I'm just like, she's so good. She's so smart. Like I love being a dad, and I love this little girl. And I feel like I'm a very present dad. I feel like I'm there a lot for her. When we're in the car, I'll turn the radio down and we'll talk unless the song comes on that we both want to sing. But we'll like have conversations, even if it's about nonsense that I have no idea what she's actually saying. I feel like I'm very much there for my daughter. But I was able to like sit there in this moment and be like, oh, like, I haven't done this in a long time. It's been a long time since I've had a full hour with zero distractions and zero just things to take me off of focusing on her. Now, obviously, that is, I'm a believer in like having your kids be part of your experience. So there are parents who do that all the time. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, my daughter does, me and my kids always have an hour together, and I shut down everything for them. I don't do that because I want my daughter to be a part of my life. So I take her to the MMA gym with me. I have her watch the fights with me. I have her, come with me to places I go and just be a part of my life. I don't have her watch all the shows that I watch, other than we'll watch fighting, and I'll tell her, oh, that's Daddy's friends. Daddy's friends are fighting, and because I don't want her to be afraid of fights. I don't want her to I don't want it to be something that is afraid of her, and I want her to understand as she gets old, like as she's growing up, that it is a competition. It's just a sport like any other sport. It'd be like having your kid watch football or having your kid watch baseball. Like, it's just a sport. These two people are in competition with each other, and I want to teach her young. So she doesn't ever like sit there and actually watch the fights. They're just on while she's playing around. But she's not. Her mind isn't to that point yet where she's actually watching things like that intently. That's not like a cartoon or something. So anyways, I'm just going off on this whole thing, and you talked for 15 minutes about watching your daughter play. But I believe that it's important because we're like, this is a chance. This is like a chance. This is a reset button. This is a chance for us to redevelop relationships with people and for us to detach from our devices. And this is a chance for us to, be just a little better humans, a little better to each other, pay a little more attention to each other, learn how to have conversations again that don't exist solely over emojis and GIFs, I I really liked it. I like, I was starting to get emotional. Like, man, this is awesome. I love this. And it took all of this and kind of forcing me into this situation and exhausting me from all my devices to be like, oh yeah, they're like, these moments are more important. These moments are way more important. So, I don't want to come across like I'm one of those dads that's, constantly on his phone or constantly, putting other things above his daughter, because I'm definitely not at all. But even this was like, oh, like, you know, this is a full hour with zero distractions. That's, I'd like to see, how often other people are doing that, like a full hour with zero distractions, just you and that little kid. Um, but yeah, it was great. It was awesome. I loved it. So I thought, this is something that's good that could come out of this. There's a lot of scariness coming out of this. There's a lot of fear in what's going on in the world right now, but there is good that we can find out of it. So let's find the good in it, and let's just keep taking care of each other. But to get onto kind of what's going on, I guess. As I mentioned, I was watching the Anderson Silva. I woke up this morning and watched the Anderson Silva, um, uh, Chael Sonnen fight, where Anderson came back and lost in the last second. And I, of course, was like drawing a parallel to like, this is the situation we're in right now. Here comes Chael Sonnen, this big bad, up and comer that Anderson didn't have any respect for and didn't think was up to his level, and thought that he was going to walk over him, and thought that this was going to be nothing, and thought that it was just the next thing. Um, and he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready for Chael Sonnen. He wasn't ready for what Chael Sonnen was ready to bring, and he had no defense for it. And that's, I feel like, oh, you draw parallel to what's going on today. Like, we saw this thing coming. We saw this coronavirus coming. We had no respect for it. We saw, like, I remember UFC 248. I'm watching UFC 248, and they're talking about the Wei Li Zhang, and it was weeks before that they had gotten her out of China because of this whole thing. So we had heard about it. Us in the MMA community kind of knew about kind of the seriousness of this coronavirus a little bit more than I'd just say the average person. I think if you're into politics, you probably knew about it a lot, and if you're into MMA, you knew about it a little more than the average person. But I think the average person really had no idea what was going on. But we'd been hearing about it. They had been quarantining China, and they moved Wei Li Zhang out of there, and we were watching this fight with her, with Joanna Jacek, and they're commentators talking about it, and they're talking about how serious it is, but it's really not like hitting home the how dangerous it is, and we just kind of overlooked it. The rest of the world just kind of was like, whatever, it's another cold, we'll be fine. It's a flu, we'll be all right. Like, yeah, there's some stuff going on, but China was like, all of Chael Sonnen's past opponents, they were like, he's a little more dangerous than you think. He's a little better than you think. You need to be a little more prepared for him. And what we didn't know is Sonnen was juiced up. He says it under his own admission that he was on the special sauce at that point. So I like this virus was a little more pumped up, a little more juice than we thought it was going to be, and then it comes and it hits us, and we've spent this first 4 rounds. Let's say we're 3 rounds right now. Let's say we're 2 rounds. We're probably 2 rounds, to be honest. But we've spent the first 2 rounds on our back, and we've tried a few escapes. We've tried a few tricks. We've tried to combat it with coming out hot in the first of the round, but quickly getting taken back down and put on our back. And now we're in this situation to where he's this virus is grinding us out. It's weighing heavy on us. It's keeping us in defense the entire time. We have no real time to mount any offense. We're just flat on our back, and we're getting pummeled right now. And it's going to take, I believe it's going to be in that 5th round with only, short time left, minutes left, for us to be able to wrap our legs up around the neck of the virus and choke it out for a submission, the submission of the year. I'm hoping this is the comeback. I'm hoping that we have the comeback that I'm planning on. I'm hoping that we have this miracle in the last, in the last, in the fifth round, so we can, so that we can have this, we can win this fight, because it's scary right now. It's not looking good, and we are on our backs, and we are on defense, and we are, surviving round to round. It's time to mount some offense and get our comeback. So I think I'm going to watch a few more comeback fights and see if I can draw more analogies as to what's coming. Because I was just watching this, and I remember that whole thing where Chael Sonnen was just so confident and Anderson was just dismissing him like, dude, you're nothing. And Chael Sonnen was like, I'm coming for you, and I'm gonna stick it to you, and I'm gonna take you down, I'm gonna beat you up. And he did exactly what he said he was gonna do, and he almost got away with it. So let's hope that doesn't happen. So we've been talking about how they've canceled all sports. Well, there was a sporting event, Cage Warriors 113, that decided they were going to put on a card, and they were going to be the beacon of light, and that they were going to show the world that they're not scared of this coronavirus. And I had mixed feelings about it, and I was like, okay, I'm going to watch it. It's on UFC Fight Pass. And I was like, all right, I'm going to watch it, and I'll see how I feel. And I had mixed feelings. Of course, it's always nice to watch competition again. I love fighting. I love it. I love this sport. I love it so much, and I wanted to be all about it and be like, yeah, like I was so excited. And the UFC Brasilia card, I was on, but things have progressed so much in this past week that now I'm watching this, and I'm watching the prelims, and I just. Like, just chill, people. Chill. Like, do what you need to do. Really, what I thought that went through my head wasn't like, hey, these guys just need to be at home, just getting over this. The thought that went through my head is, if one of these idiots get hurt, and they have to go to the hospital, let's say 8 people. That's a small number of people that usually have to just go get checked out. Not everyone's a big surgery, but some people just need to get checked out. Let's say 8 people go. That's 8 beds of people who might need it. That's 8 beds taken up. That's 8 nurses that are taken out of rotation to talk to you and deal with you. That's, down the line, 8 people doing your registration. 8 people, 8 people that could have been doing other things, taking care of other people that didn't need to be taking care of you. And we know that that's like the biggest concern about all of this is, are there going to be enough hospital beds? If everyone gets sick at the same time, are there going to be enough hospital beds? And is the medical field going to collapse because of all this? Because we just don't have the numbers to take care of the people that are out there. So, like, to me, I wasn't really looking at it like, oh, you could get sick. Someone might have it in the locker room. I wasn't thinking of it like that. I was looking at it like, if you go to the hospital, if you get hurt, let's say, and that's pray to God it wasn't a big injury, but even if you have a small injury, you have to go to the doctor. You're taking up space for someone who might need it, and that just was where I just was like, I just had this disconnect, and I literally could only watch the prelims. After the prelims, I was like, I don't know if I can watch the rest of this card, and I just something came up anyways, and so I just used that as my excuse to watch it. So I didn't even watch the main card. I didn't know how the main card went. I didn't really look at the results because I just wasn't into it. And I have to say, for the first 3 fights, well, let's see how many cards are on the prelims. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 fights on the prelims, and only 2 of them were really exciting fights. The rest were, and this is what it felt like happened. It felt like someone walked in, and the announcers kept alluding to this and kept saying this, and it was kind of pissing me off. They kept saying, with the eyes of the world on us, we're the only sporting event going on in the world right now, and these fighters know that the eyes of the world is on them. Like, they were bragging about being the only sporting event, but really, like, it wasn't that good of an event that people needed to watch and people needed to see. Like, as myself, someone who admittedly is obsessed with MMA, only watched the prelims and then said, I'm out. This just doesn't feel right. Like, they weren't proving. There's nothing about that card, and I know it's the prelims, so take it for what I'm saying, but or take it for what it's worth. It was just the prelims, but just watching it, I was like, there's nothing here that is worth the risk that they're putting other people through. There's nothing here that's special. There's nothing here that there's no fights here that are that even most of them didn't even look hungry. What it looked like was the Ultimate Fighters, where you knew you were going to be in a tournament, so you had to secure the wins until you got to the finale. Then you were going to show how you were going to fight. And so, pretty much the first, it was people taking other people down, just shooting. People who didn't even look like they were really wrestlers or really good, really good at shooting, were shooting just to control, to stay on top, to get the win. And I feel like they were in the back and they were pushing these guys. The world's watching. You guys, we're the only sporting event going on right now. Everybody wants to, see competition. They're all going to tune in. Everyone's going to get Fight Pass for this moment to watch these fights. And they sold it in these guys' heads, and they all got shell shocked. Like, what do we do now? I've never had the eyes of the world on me before. I'll just take them down and I'll just win. And then people will just see me win and they'll think I'm a winner. And that's what it felt like. It was just a lot of crappy grappling exchanges because it looked like people who weren't necessarily grapplers doing it, going to the ground. And that's what most of the fights felt like on the prelims. Now there was a couple fighters. There was a guy named Adam Amashinga versus Jake Bond. That was a good fight. That was a real good fight. Amashinga's got great stand up. I think one day for sure you're gonna see him in the UFC. He looked real crisp, real clean. He picked all his shots perfectly. He wasn't throwing wild shots. He's very, very good striker. Like he's one that I'd say keep your eyes on. And he's got a lot of skill. Very technical fighter. Very exciting to watch. He was not just trying to go to the ground and get the fight over with and get the win. He went in there to get the finish and to show the world what he could do. So for that I got to give credit. My hat's off to him. That was awesome. There's another kid, James Hendon. And I don't. All these guys were from across the pond, and so all the announcers had English accents. So I know I didn't get all their names right because I was just going off of what the announcers were saying. But this guy was very, very slick wrestler. I mean, it was almost like watching like a Khabib, but it was almost better because it wasn't just take him down, ground and pound. There's something else to his style that I really, really liked, and he's very talented. His striking was good. Don't know if it's professional level, like upper echelon level yet, but if he learned how to be that good of a wrestler, he can learn how to be an amazing striker, and he can always use his wrestling. So he's one that I think you might be able to keep your eyes on. His cardio was insane. I mean, it was straight wrestling for 3 5-minute rounds, and he just did not even look tired, did not look gassed at all. There's another guy, Connor Enger versus Darren Orgerman. Darren looked phenomenal. I mean, in the stand-up, on the ground, transition. He almost had 3 or 4 finishes, and I believe it was like the second round. He spent the entire round with a triangle choke on Connor, and hats off to Connor for being so tough. But I mean, he was in a triangle for almost the entire round, and Darren was just real smooth transitions from side to side, and it looked really, really good. So, but he ended up getting TKO'd in the third round. He was tired. His legs were gashed. You could tell he couldn't get out of the way. You could tell he wasn't able to move the same because he tried to back up from a punch and just got caught and put to sleep. So Connor ended up winning that fight, but Darren definitely looked like the better fighter and definitely looked like the more skilled and well-rounded fighter. Kingsley Crawford was the first fight of the night. He had a second round triangle. He looked really good on the ground, really slick. Some good stand up, but nothing real special about that. He's nowhere near ready to be in the next level. But I do believe Adam Amashinga, and even though he lost, I think Darren could probably Darren Orgerman could do well. Oh, and then James Hendon as well. Like he definitely they need to move up. They need to move up to the next level. But that's what these are all about. That's why I push for Still Fist. That's what these cards are about. They're about building the fighters. They're about building the fighters up. And if you want to hear someone talk eloquently, which is hilarious because he never likes to really talk that much. But Kevin Patton, the owner of Still Fist, was on the Damage Plan MMA podcast with Zach Partridge and Jason Laporte just the other day, and he's talking about like Still Fist's goal to build fighters, and this is why I work with this guy. This is why I went to him and said, "Can I please do your podcast? Can I please be part of Still Fist? Can I please be part of the team?" Because I saw this is the type of guy he is, and this is what his goal is, and his goal is to build fighters, and to build this scene in Utah, and everything. People talk trash on promoters all the time. They talk garbage about they're just in it for the money and they're just in it for this and they're just in it for that, and everyone has their opinion on it. But you sit and you listen to this guy and he explains it in a way you're like, oh, that makes sense. I get that. That's why you do it that way. So listen to that podcast. You can find it on iTunes. The Damage Plan MMA podcast. It's really good. The episode with Kevin Patton is the one you want to listen to specifically, but listen to all of them because they all do a good job. So, or they're all good episodes. But this is why I mess with local MMA. That's what local MMA is about. Like you take these fighters. You take a fighter like Clay Collard and you have him fighting for Still Fist, and then you can look and you see, man, this guy's a top welterweight definitely in Utah, probably in the West, and proving to be one of the best in the world. He's just signed with the PFL, so now we're gonna find out if he's one of the best in the world. If he does good there's a good chance he's still young. There's a good chance he's going back to the UFC. Like, this kid has everything, and he's a Still Fist guy. Like, he's one that has been with us. He's one that's fought for us. He's one that we've backed and that we've been behind, and that we love having him out to every show. And we've worked with him, and we've seen the good that's come of him, and we want to build more fighters like him. And there are more fighters up and coming that are on these awesome trajectories because we put on shows. We put on shows every single month. We put you on a fight card. And if you work with us, we work with you. And Kevin lays out the plan of how we work for you. It's not hard. It's not hard to figure out the plan of how we get you on shows, how we set you up with opponents, how that all works. You listen to that episode, you figure it out. If you watch that episode and you don't take away from it a game plan of how to build your success and how to become a better fighter and how to become a better fighter that's going to be seen in front of people, that's actually going to be able to showcase your skill. If you don't understand that, then you've probably been hit in the head too many times, and you're not going to figure it. You're never going to figure it out because he lays out the game plan. He lays out the blueprint of how to do it all. So go listen to that episode and continue to listen to these episodes. I mean, we're all quarantined, man. We're all in it. So do yourself a favor and subscribe, and share. You can find us on Facebook at Still Fist Fight Night. You can find us on Instagram at Still Fist Fight. You can find this podcast on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and YouTube at under the Undefeated by Choice podcast. I'm going to continue to try to put this stuff together. I'm going to watch a few more comebacks and see if I can draw some more parallels for you. Just remember some of the exciting moments in MMA history. I'll probably do some other stuff like that. I'll do some more ranking breakdowns. Just try to keep stuff going, keep it fresh. One thing that I did think during watching this Cage Warriors thing, I don't even know if I'm going to say positive, but I'm going to say the only thing I got out of it was this. Because if you had asked me up until that point if Khabib and Tony is going to happen on time, I would have said, no, it's not happening. Watching that card, I thought, they might pull it off. They might be able to get that card out. They might be able to get that fight to happen. So that's the one thing. If you are, heartbroken because you think that fight might not happen, I think if anything we learned from the Cage Warriors fight is that it might happen. It just might happen. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where we're all at in a couple weeks from now. But until then, take this time to be with your family. Take this time to be with loved ones. Take this time to take care of the people that you love, the people you care about. This is unprecedented times. This is scary for some people. For other people, it's inconvenient. For other people, it's it is what it is. But the only thing we can do is what I've been telling us to do for 4 years now since I started doing these podcasts. And every podcast saying the same thing is because I mean it, and I think that it's important that we start doing it. But take care, be good to yourself. I almost messed it up. That's time for me to close out. Be good to yourself. Be good to each other. I love you.